see here. And we are live. Okay. So so this is Monday. This is Monday Night Live. Monday Night Live. We are live and we are full effect. We are so great to be here and experience another Monday Night Live. I am Coach Desmond Booker. I am a Christian dating and relationship coach. And as we normally come on Monday, I will always have a hot topic and or a special guest. And tonight we are in for a great treat because we have Lady V is in the house. I was going to try to introduce her, and but I thought she would introduce herself. She's and do a way better job than probably what I would do, so that I don't be in trouble. So, Lady V, we're so glad to have you tonight joining us. If you would just take your time and introduce yourself.
Yeah. So my name's Vidalia. I go by Lady B, and I just am a single woman who loves to encourage other single women with respect to our singleness, navigating dating, especially in today's society, and maintaining our confidence and our self-worth. And I started becoming passionate about this after going through some bad breakups and realizing what they did to my own self-esteem and confidence. So I decided that if I could make my mark in this world, I really wanted to empower other single women to just have and cultivate better experiences than I had. So that's a little bit about me. I'm super excited to be here tonight to dive into today's topic.
All right. All right. That is great. And as we're on live, we want to make sure that I think your sound, and I'm not for sure on how my sound sounds to you, but to you, me, a little bit, Lady V, you sound just a little bit low. So if you can
I
give
am.
me a little volume, and then anybody that's chiming in. Now, I can't see comments on the StreamYard side, and so what we're going to begin to do on IG, what I want you to do, if you have any comments or anything, I want you to go ahead and start your comments. And if you have questions, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get those questions some kind of way. And then also on Facebook, we want to welcome you. You also have comments, and you also have questions that you can answer as well. Now, Facebook, you won't be able to see us, only me, but you will be able to hear Lady V. And then for those that are on Instagram, for those that are on YouTube as well, we welcome you. Those that are on YouTube, watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can get when I'm going live. And then also it helps me reach other people. Lady V stepped away. I'm not for sure why that was, but let's see if we can get her back. Not for sure. She is gone, and now she's coming back. I should have never said anything because she's going to try to get it right. Let's see. Here she comes back. Okay, we got her back.
Okay.
And
Is this volume better?
yes, that volume is better.
Okay, perfect.
But it might have been fine. I just wanted to make sure on my end, and I didn't see any comments coming through, but I wanted to make sure that we heard you loud and clear. So we're glad to have you back and
Okay. I
everything.
had to, and that's still good.
You're good.
Okay. I had to adjust the volume settings. So
Oh yes, yes, yes. And we normally would have did the mic check and everything, but I didn't even think about it. You sounded perfect when we were chatting a little bit. But we're back and we're glad to be able to do this. Now, one of the things that we've noticed with the queens, Lady V, is that so many queens are hurting from past relationships. And what typically happens most of the time is that they don't go through their healing process, or they say they're doing a healing process, but they really actually are, quote unquote, staying hurt, protecting themselves but then they find themselves going into a relationship. They don't really mean for that to happen, and some do, but not intentionally, because they just find a friend, and a friend, and that friendship leads to something. So my question to you is, how dangerous is that?
It can be very dangerous. And I say dangerous in the sense of I don't feel like we make the best choices when we are unhealed. With that being said, though, I believe that healing is an iterative process. And so I don't think there's ever a state of 100% healing because you're exposed to different things as you continue to progress in life. You might uncover things and unpack things. Like I know, even in my season, I've been discovering things from childhood that are impacting me that I didn't know before, right? But that's why I'm a big proponent of therapy and really tapping in with a therapist. But I believe that when we're operating from an unhealed place, especially coming out of a breakup, we don't necessarily always make the best choices for ourselves. We may not make the best choices for partners, what and who we allow into our space. And I can speak for myself. I definitely entertained some men who I would not have entertained had I been fully healed and whole. So
Yeah,
I definitely think taking some time, taking a step back. I always like to tell people just take a moment of reflection after you're coming out of a breakup. I'm a big journaling type of person, and so I like to reflect on the things that I learned from that relationship, what I learned from that person, what I learned about how I felt in that situation, and what I discovered about me. And because you're doing this process for yourself, you have to be honest with yourself. So now's not the time to like sugarcoat it, not take accountability, like be honest with yourself. And when I was honest with myself, I would be able to identify, like, you know what, I was lonely, so I accepted this, or I really just wanted to have somebody, so I accepted this. And that's like, to me, honesty, being honest with yourself is the key to your healing. So that's what I think.
yeah, and I use the word dangerous, dangerously, and because of just what you're saying, is because, again, you're not thinking, you're just not all there. Whether it's
Yeah.
sometimes, even mentally, you're not all there. You're not there all emotionally, and so that can lead to, now, again, there are some cases that we saw that it works out okay, but most likely because, again, just like you're saying, many times is that you're dating people that you necessarily would not even date. Um,
Yeah.
and so that leads me to this question right here, because so many times while you're dating or in a relationship, you have changed and you don't really even know who you are. So how could you even choose properly because of what you changed, or who you would even like? So it begins to be a more of a friendship that it starts to turn into, then into a relationship, which then turns into a situationship. That's what I began to see. What about yourself, as far as somebody that's unhealed dating somebody who is, they could be healed, but they're not, or they're unhealed. But an unhealed person, what I found out majority is that the process is that they go from friendship, relationship, most likely situationship.
I think it can look different for different people in terms of where your path of unhealing can take you. I definitely think there is a path of unhealing that could cause you to jump in situations and maybe not fully flush things out. Been there, done that. I also think I know another path of unhealing that I took personally was what I like to call like dating PTSD. Like I got to a place where I was scared to date. And so I would not actually get out there and move forward. It was just easier to kind of just retreat and be in my bubble and in my comfort zone. And that wasn't the most healed place to be in either, because love is a risk, and you got to put yourself out there and all of that. So I can definitely see how both paths can definitely happen. I think it just really goes down to wanting to put yourself in the best position to make the best relationship choices for you. And when you're operating from a more healed state, I feel like that's how you do that. That's how you put yourself in that best position. And again, I'm not saying you reach 100% total healing. I used to believe that that was necessary, but
Mhm.
as I've evolved, I've learned that there's still things about me that I'm discovering, and so now I'm learning tools to deal with those things. But I definitely feel like that puts you in the best situation for sure.
Yes, yes, and that's one of the things that I teach. And I actually, the last guest that we had, we were talking about that healing process because, again, yes, we're not totally always healed, but we are going through that continual process of healing, and so that leads me to this question then. So, how important is it for you to date somebody who is also in their healing process?
Very important, very important, especially for me now. But I think there's a couple of different things to unpack there. First, now that I'm in a more healed state, I can identify those who are not as healed. And I think when I was operating from a place of not being in a healthier state, I didn't realize that those people weren't healed. We were the same in a sense, we were on the same page. So now that I'm in a more healed state, I can definitely see the difference. And in having dated and like in this season of dating men who are more healed, I can definitely feel the difference. And I also feel like because I've done the work, I'm attracting men who have done the work. Or the men who come in and haven't done the work, it's easier for me to walk away from those situations. And so I think it's very important. But I think in order to be able to identify that, you yourself have to be in a more healed and healthy state as well. Now, that doesn't mean like the blatant, obvious, crazy things that people come into contact with. I think they're blatant, obvious red flags, but I definitely think it just makes. I've always said like I want a healthy relationship and a healthy foundation, and in order to do that, you need two healthy people, and so that's why I think it's very important.
Yeah, yes. And so that's why I was asking that, because when you have two healthy people, again, because what has happened many times is that I'm hurting and I can't understand or why or and again I'm using that word dangerously doing this dating, because you're going to be attracting, and as I say, animals are, um men, how to say this, men are, we are hunters. So the only thing that's in the and I'm going to say the forest, the woods, or whatever, uh water, land, an animal is seeking after what? He's seeking after blood. And so if you're hurting, he smells blood, or he may be the type that if he's not hunting you for that, then he will be hunting you to more or less buy you the couch, pay your rent. And so now he's coming in as Superman, but then that relationship turns into a manipulating, narcissistic relationship, because you're hurting. You've attracted that because he smells blood. So either you're going to get the manipulating narcissistic man coming to you, or which we would deem him as Superman. He's coming in to save the day, or you're going to get that predator who smells blood and is going to come in and prey on you as well. What do you
As
think
a
about that?
Yeah, as a person who has encountered all three of those types of men, I think that um, men, and I make these statements, not categorizing all men into this, but I do think that men are smarter than we give them credit for, women, ladies. And so, like, you're mentioning they can pick up on that, right? They can pick up. I actually just did a YouTube video on this that I need to post. But I was saying that when you are operating from a place of desperation and loneliness and frustration in your singleness, thirstiness, whatever you want to call it, they can pick up on that. They can sense that, and they can breadcrumb you and just feed you just enough, then, do something different. But when you're operating from a place of being more healed and in a healthy place and feeling whole and confident and secure in yourself that you're going to be okay regardless if you have a man or not, you attract different. And I'm literally living it. I'm literally living it, having had my single season, restoring my confidence and my self-worth in myself and learning to love myself. I now attract a completely different group of men than I have before, which opens its own, if we're talking about healing, to be honest, now I'm in a space of learning how to navigate healthy dating. I know how to navigate toxic dating. I do that
Mm-hmm.
well. Or I did that well. I'm no longer that girl. I did that well. But now I'm learning how to navigate healthy dating and trying to make sure that the trauma from this toxic side doesn't rear its head over here. So again, healing is just always something that you're always learning. And now that I've created a healthy environment for myself, now I'm learning how to thrive in that environment.
Yeah. That, I mean, that's really great, because again, all of it is about that healing, about the process. And I have even experienced many times is that the queen feels like she's ready to go dating. She's ready to, and she starts attracting, as you just stated, the healthy relationship, the healthy man coming into her life, and now she has to deal with that. And that's why I always use the terminology, are you really ready to date? Because a lot of times you feel like you're ready, but then all of this starts to happen to you. And again, we it's kind of strange though, when you're expecting something to go wrong with relationships and you're expecting him to do something, you start to kind of like, and I hate to use the word program, but you've programmed yourself like, is this really too good to be true? So can
Yeah.
you talk about and help the queen on that, how to demystify the fact that this could be true? This is good. This is good for me.
So I believe in being honest and transparent. I never get online and pretend like I am a relationship expert or guru. I am your single homegirl who is figuring it out just like the rest of y'all. Okay. And so being honest, because that has been a bit of the season that I've been in the last couple of years, is like, how does that look now and how do you navigate that space? And I think that what I've learned is just I have to allow myself to have another option, another narrative. I think so often, based on our experiences, and sis, I'm not here to invalidate or minimize the hurt that you've been through, the brokenness that you felt, the pain that you've endured, but we cannot allow the experiences of our past to dictate our present, right? And so I've been learning to give myself another alternative. And my therapist has been very helpful in that, you know what, this could work out. Why doesn't my mind, I had to learn, why didn't my mind default to maybe this could work out? Maybe this is good, not necessarily too good to be true, but maybe this is good, period. That's it. It doesn't have to be anything else. So I would encourage you to start trying to give yourself another alternative instead of always thinking that it's going to default to what you've experienced in the past. And I'm a big believer of fake it till you make it, because I believe in the power of our words and affirming ourselves. And so sometimes you may not always believe it, but in order to start training your mind, in my opinion, to start training your mind to pivot, you have to start literally training your mind. People, I'm really big into fitness right now. And so as I'm learning, muscle is not built overnight, right? It's a process. I have to keep training that muscle. That muscle has to keep enduring. And so that to me is the same thing that I try to approach kind of like in my growth in my romantic life. And as I navigate singleness and dating, is that I have to kind of keep training myself to not default to old patterns and to create new and healthy patterns and thoughts for myself. So that's what I would encourage someone to do.
Yeah, that's important. And so in saying that, because again, it's all about the expectation, because it's like, okay, I am healthy. I'm I am ready to start dating. I feel that when he comes in, I'll be ready to. But then you continue to see the wrong man come in, and I really truly believe that many times is that you could be healthy and still attract the wrong men, not because so much you're wrong, but your expectations, because you can only attract what you are expecting. So in saying that, I want you to kind of like talk about it, and heard about this terminology, green flags. So when you start to always looking for red flags, it almost puts you in a negative state and
Yeah.
not expecting the person. So instead of just looking for the red flags, you want to start looking for the green flag. So can you share about that? I know you've talked about green flags before, haven't you?
Yeah, before I start that, I will say, like, I totally agree with your point. I have been in this space of really changing my dating mindset and how I view dating in general. Because if I do believe, like, if you only look for red flags, or if you're in this space where you're saying the dating pool is trash, or all men are dogs, that you're gonna constantly see the bad in even the best of men, right? So you're already kind of shortchanging yourself, in my opinion. And so starting to pivot to focus more on the positive things. And I say focus more. I'm not saying we ignore the bad, but to focus more on the positive things. I think that has allowed me to have more positive dating experiences, and that includes focusing on the green flags. I know for me, I my green flags have been evolving as I've been evolving and growing as a woman and having had other experiences. And so I know one big green flag for me is communication, healthy communication. I try to show up and give healthy communication, and I also look for healthy communication. Obviously, relationship with Christ, that's a green flag for me. And just like I could list a lot of green flags that I would see, but I think more so than having a list is just starting to identify the things that make you feel good, that make you feel loved, that make you feel valued and cherished in a relationship, could be things that are green flags. And I think so often we focus on trying to protect ourselves, trying to make sure we don't get hurt, that we focus on all the things that make us feel bad. And sometimes some of us haven't identified the things that make us feel good. We know what makes us feel bad, but we don't always know what makes us feel good, what we really need for ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, that's really good because again, like you're saying, as you're evolving, and again, you may even have standards, you have boundaries, but as you're growing, as you're healing, even more of those standards and those boundaries will increase. And it kind of is leading me to this question because on one spectrum of protecting yourself is like I'm not going to date anybody because I'm not healthy and I'm not whole, so I'm just going to keep myself out of it. Plus, there's no any good men out there anyway, right? And then on the other spectrum is that you get healthy and you're whole, and now it's like I'm good, I don't want to go down that path and be hurt again. So I think I'm gonna. So on both both spectrum, the queen finds herself staying single. And so, do you see what I'm saying? And do you agree with that?
Oh, that's a very real season that your girl is fighting herself. I did do a video on this on my YouTube channel where I said I think that I had become so content and complacent in my singleness that I hid behind even just having a platform of trying to encourage other single women. I hid behind that, like, this is my purpose, this is what I'm supposed to do. But the real truth was I was just scared, like, and have been scared to put myself out there again. The difference is I am now more equipped than I ever was before. And so what I have had to learn to do is to trust myself, that I can make healthy decisions for myself in dating. I think somewhere along the line of choosing the wrong men, I had lost confidence in my ability to choose the right men or to not allow certain things to happen again. But now that I'm equipped, I've done the work and all those things, it was like, okay, girl, you can trust yourself now. You can put yourself out there. That doesn't mean you won't experience rejection. That doesn't mean things may not hurt your feelings, but because you now are equipped to navigate it, you deal with it differently and it impacts you differently. It doesn't, I don't think these things take us out, but just my phrase I use all the time, it doesn't take me out anymore if a guy ghosts me or whatever. I have my little feelings, I'd be mad about it, but then I'm like, you know what? That no puts me closer to the yes. So cool, let's keep it moving. And that's just something that I've had to learn in this season as well.
Wow, wow. Okay, well and that's really good. So
Yeah, I've been growing over here.
you're doing really well, and that's so amazing that you're going through your journey, and as you're going through your journey, you're able to share what you're finding out about yourself, and in that process of reflection, you're able to help others. And so, what about so this man that comes into your life? You'll be able to now attract the right type of man into your life, and what a healthy conversation that will be as he's sharing his journey and you're sharing your journey with him. That would be awesome. I think so. In saying that, when you're meeting and going on dating, well, let's just again. I always like to define dating to me, and before I say what dating is to me, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go ahead and share what you feel, quote unquote, dating is.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know that I've actually thought about defining dating, but to me, I think it's just being intentional in getting to know someone. And I think there are levels and progressions in it, but I think the core of it is being intentional in getting to know someone and determining if you all are in alignment, and are compatible on in the areas that matter to you most. So that's kind of my short definition. I am curious to hear how you define it, because you're the expert here.
Well,
So
honestly, I mean, it's just as simple as just what you said. Because I believe it's just really me getting to know you, and you're getting to know me, in the
yeah,
midst of that conversation. And the reason why I'm saying that is because so many people are afraid of quote unquote dating, and they've turned it so many things is that they don't even like the word dating. Now, watch this. As a person of faith, as somebody who believes, some people don't believe as a person of faith that, and I'll just use Christians don't believe in dating. But to me, I don't know how you're going to get to know somebody unless you go out, right? Unless you have to do some type of exchanging information. So share a little bit about that. I wanted it to come from your perspective of how that how you feel that feel about that.
yeah. I mean, I understand. I can understand how the Bible really doesn't talk about dating, so I can understand how there may be some Christians who may not uh, believe in dating, but this Christian woman does. I definitely believe in dating. I'm not marrying nobody blind. I'm not even hopping into relationships blindly. Like, been there, done that. We're not doing that no more. So I definitely believe in getting to know someone. And I think the thing that I've done or I have been learning to do, and again, I always go back to training your mind, right? Is treating the dating experience as simply that, getting to know someone, instead of running off and being like going on a date with somebody and like envisioning them, this is my husband, this is my husband. That to me sets me up for failure when I do that, because then things that I might should be paying attention to, I might ignore because I want them to be my husband, or vice versa. And so I really just treat it as, this is me meeting someone, I'm getting to know them, letting that be what that is. Now, again, there are levels to it, progress and all of that, but especially first date, I'm just getting to know you. And that helps to take the pressure off, I think, as well, because it's just like, we're just getting to know each other, and that's okay. So that's what I've been learning.
Yeah, and I think the reason why most Christians are afraid of that terminology dating, and but by the way, Ruth and Boaz went out on a date, because when he asked her out for dinner, basically that's what he was
Yeah.
asking her to go out on a date. In that process, because I believe they put like sex, right? They so if we're dating, then we're exchanging, doing those type of things. But that's not necessarily, because honestly, you can phone date. You can get to know somebody over the phone. You don't actually have to sit down across from somebody to date them. You can actually do that on the phone, and get.
Yeah,
But
I have to chime in on that because I see that all the time. I see that in the comment sections. Like a lot of people think if you're dating, you're having sex. That's what we got to say on the streaming, right? They think you having like sex and stuff. And so, hey, I've learned to hope that my character speaks for me and people know me to know that's not my life. But then I just got to a space where I'm just like, I don't care because people are going to generalize us anyway. I know how I protect me over here. And so I think you just have to be true to yourself. Dating, in my opinion, definitely does not equate to having relations with multiple people at all. But for whatever reason, the masses, the world, has tried to paint that narrative. So I definitely would encourage you, if you are a woman and interested in dating and ready to date, like, and be confident that how you're showing up, especially, if you're not doing all those things, that's okay. People are gonna people are gonna label you what they want to label you, and they don't even know you. So I just think to chime in because I see that a lot.
yes, yes, and it's really sad. So while we're in it, let's talk about something else that's controversial. What about you're dating multiple people? How do you feel about that? Can you really get to know somebody dating multiple people?
Hi. Okay. This one is, I'm probably not the best person to answer this because this one is something that I am learning what works for me. I definitely think you're single, you are free to date whoever you want to date. So if that works for you, that works for you. I guess I basically should say I see the pros and cons of both. I think that if you are dating multiple people, you're being honest about it, keeping your options open. There's nothing wrong with that. I think at some point, right, if your intention is to be in a relationship, at some point you'll want to narrow it down so that you can focus on one person and be intentional about growing and elevating that. I also have been the woman who has dated one person because I try to balance. Yeah, trying to balance multiple people just was not something that I wanted to do. But I could see and have experienced how, that was one sided for me and how it made me become more attached, especially when I wasn't equipped with the right tools to kind of pace myself, and how that kind of left me high and dry in some cases. And that's not every case because sometimes you can date one person and that works. So I think it just really comes down to communication, what works for you. And as long as you're communicating that with whoever you're dating or encountering, and if you're a person who only likes to date one person, maybe you find another person who only likes to date one person, just to be even. But I think whatever works for the person is what I will say.
Yeah, yeah, and there are pros and cons to it, um, and and so many times is that the reason why I was sharing that and asking that question is because I think we're putting too much into dating. I really do. I really believe that we've made it not fun anymore. And that's what dating is for. While you're getting to know people, getting to know them, you're having fun. You're getting to know this person, or you may be getting to know, and you don't necessarily have to put all your eggs in just one basket.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat. I don't believe that there's a right or a wrong way. Um, because you should know yourself. Again, that's why we which I always preach on is that healthiness.
Yeah.
Because now many times, but you have to. We could talk about this all night. but the reality is, I think sometimes people date a lot of people because of them not really wanting to be in a relationship, and so they're dating these multiple people, and then they're wondering why nobody wants to commit. Well, they really don't want to commit to you is because you really don't want, and you're showing signs that you don't want to be in a relationship, and so that's why you're attracting the un
Unavailable.
unemotional, emotionally unavailable person.
Yeah, I can
And
see that. Yeah, it's definitely pros and cons for sure. And even when I have dated multiple people, there was a limit. Like I could never do like more than like three people because me, I'm an empath and like feelings, and I was like, that's just me, like and that's probably also part of the reason why I stopped being on the dating apps because it was just too much. I was like, this don't work for me. I got to meet the person out organically because I can't. That's just not my style. But yeah, I definitely have seen people do it and do it well, and wish that I could too. That just is not how I'm wired.
yeah, I think I seen this one. Actually, she's a dating coach. I think she went on within that year. I think she said 300 or 400 or some men or something like that. Just getting that's just like a lot.
I
Um,
mean, but the numbers, I guess, could be on her side, but that drains me just hearing the number.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. I mean, because you just kind of like, yeah, I can't imagine. I
and if
guess
she
because
like it, I love it.
I'm more I'm more on the mental side. I'm on the more
Okay.
mental side of it because um and dealing with that attraction piece because honestly, to a certain degree, you're just attracting the same type of person. They may be changing names, but they're
Mm,
pretty much the same type of person that you're going to continue to attract. But as you grow and as you evolve, then that type of person, and that's what should happen in dating, is that as you're dating, you're growing, so your selections should be getting better. And the closer you should be getting to that main person because you are evolving. If you're not evolving, you're going to continue to attract that same type of person if you're not growing.
and I'll say that, something else I've been learning is because I'm being more intentional about dating, it also narrows the pool by default because not everybody I'm going to be compatible with, or they're not going to find me compatible and stuff like that. And I'm definitely not in a space. I don't keep a man around just to say I have somebody. If I feel like we're not compatible, I free that man and myself so that we can find who we are compatible with. So yeah, I just have to chime
Yeah, because with that intention, that's a part of the attraction. Your intent starts the whole process. I'm intending to be in a relationship, and this is what he looks like. That automatically, which we call a decision, that means you cut something out to cut something in. And so when you make that intention, it automatically puts you in the realm of that person coming into your life. Just like I'm wanting a Mercedes Benz. Well, if I want a Mercedes Benz, then BMWs, the Jaguars, all of that stuff is going to be cut out of my life. And then I'm honed in on what. And so now I'm starting to see more Mercedes Benz coming in.
in.
Um,
Yeah,
the black ones, the gray
I
ones,
want a
the
G
green.
wagon. I want a G wagon.
So you're beginning to see that. So that's why that intention is so good. So I'm gonna ask you just a couple of more questions, but
Okay.
so because of your expertise in this dating, I have a theory that I've been working with, and I believe that it's true, but I want to see what you're taking. So online dating, dating apps, and dating in person. Do you have you seen that you're pretty much again attracting the same type of person, whether it's online dating app or in person?
No, I don't think I am. and I can elaborate. But do you want me to elaborate?
Oh yes, that most
Yeah,
definitely, the most
I don't
definitely
think
elaborate.
so. I don't think so. I think dating apps just, and I'm not an expert at this, y'all, but I think dating apps is like a numbers game. So I think you could attract different, all kinds of different people just due to the mechanics of the dating apps. And I'm not saying you have to match with those people, but I think you can attract different people. However, I think when I'm in person and a man sees my aura, sees my vibe, sees the way I carry myself, I am approached, especially in this season of my life, I'm being more approached by the type of men that I desire. Versus the dating apps, I still felt like I have to sift through and try to see which men I was compatible with just based off of words, which doesn't always translate in real life. So yeah, I think it has been different. I think I've experienced more positive experiences by meeting people in person. I don't know if that's statistically proven or not, but that's my own experience.
No, that's that. I mean, that's really good information because you're saying that your experience in person is better. Um,
Mhm.
and I guess we don't really have enough data from you, but maybe. But me personally, I believe that the if and so that's not let's not use names, but let's use characteristics or the type of person. So, for instance, I'm meeting men who are um, financial savvy. He is uh, pretty much a ghoster. You know, he doesn't mean to ghost me, but he's so busy, and so for whatever reason, he's not texting me or he's not calling me. So I said, forget online, online dating. Let me go to in person. Now let me meet these people in person. And so now you meet this person in person. What begins to happen is you great finances. Okay, great. He's great with the finances. He likes to date, but then he's also to a ghoster. See, that's what I believe is that, and the reason why I'm saying that is because we're spirits, and so spirits attract spirits. It's just like, and I hate to use this, but I teach the queen all the time. It's just like you can go to a church. The liar out of thousands of people, they find that other liar or the person that is an adulterer, they just out of all these people, I don't know how they just it's just like a magnet to them. I truly believe. Now I'm not negating what you're saying, but I truly believe that whatever or whomever you're meeting, the characteristics of that person in person is going to pretty much be the same as in dating. Now, you've made a valid point as far as online dating and dating apps is that you're going to go through a mirage of people, but it's still attraction because when you're dating and you're getting to know that person, you're going to be like, you seem like just like James over here that I met at Walmart. You see,
Yeah,
but
I think you can have some inherent biases that, and then I'm not saying that that's bad, right? You can have a natural affinity towards a certain type of man, a certain build of a man. So there's going to be, you can have a natural affinity to a certain type of man that you're attracted to. I think I just believe that you can attract different spirits, even similar spirits, but you don't have to allow all of those spirits into your space. And so if you're meeting the same type of person, then maybe it's taking a self-assessment of yourself. And if that's the type of person you don't want to meet, it's like maybe taking a self-assessment of yourself, like why am I still meeting these kinds of people? But again, you don't have to allow that into your space. So I'm more in a space now where if I see or meet a spirit that's like something that I don't want or, had in past, then I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm good on this. And, end things amicably and move on and don't continue to entertain it. So I think there's some things you can do on the back end as well.
yes, yes, and the reason why, and I'm glad you clarifying that because again, the reason why is because when we're having this conversation, because we want to really help queens. Number one,
Yeah.
I don't want the queen to be frustrated because I'm in person and I'm meeting the wrong guys. I'm online and I'm meeting the wrong guys.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're the wrong person. I'll just say it like that, attracting the wrong, the wrong person. So yes, if you can, and I tell you all the time, if you can attract the wrong people, you can attract the right people. And it
Yeah.
really doesn't matter the vehicle that you use. Because again,
Yeah.
if you're changing it, and so I like what you said is that because of the space that you're in now, you're seeing different results. And that's what I'm really alluding to is that when you begin to change, when you begin to heal, when you begin to evolve, and the more you do that, the better your results are going to be as far as whom you're attracting.
And I'll say also the reason I'm seeing different results is because I'm allowing different in my life. Because again, like you said, the men will holler at you, sis. Like they gonna talk to you, right? It's up to you to decide what you allow. So I definitely am not going to sit here and say that I don't still attract men with characteristics that I don't desire. I do. And when I pick up on said characteristics, I'm like, it's a no for you, girl, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can kind of create better experiences for yourself by, and all that goes back to being more equipped. When you're more equipped and when you're operating from a healthier place and you're more content in your singleness. I'm in a place where now I told y'all I got so content that I was not dating out of fear, but I'm in a place where I have learned how to be by myself and I have learned to not define my worth based off of my relationship status or a relationship title. That has allowed me to walk away from things and people that I feel like would not serve me well. And so when you have that, like, you know what? I'm not going to settle because I know you always say queens don't settle. When you have that mentality, it helps to create better results for yourself.
Yes, 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 and I mean, and that's really good, and that's why that's why we're talking and having this conversation, and I'm talking to you because from somebody that's evolving and changing, you're seeing things beginning to change. And again, you're absolutely right. And like we were saying, when you're selecting, we don't talk about it, but you're also deselecting. It's like when you're going through this buffet, you want this and you want this, but you're also saying, I don't want this and I
Right.
don't want that. And so a lot of times what happens in saying that, and we're going to close in just a minute. So what happens many times in saying that is that as you're on the positive side of this is what I want, the many queens are on the negative side. And and
Mm.
and I'm gonna ask you a question. Since you've been more on the positive side of this is what I want, isn't this is what I want show up more? And the reason why I'm saying that is because and the reason why I'm saying that is because whatever you focus on is going to grow.
Yeah. I believe that. I believe that the grass is greener where you water it. And it's so funny. And I liken it to just kind of like your car analogy. Y'all just like try this practically. You're driving and you think about your dream car or whatever. Lately, I've been seeing Porsches, and I'm like, oh, okay, Lord, like we don't need that. It's stuck in the head. But you think about your dream car, and then like now all of a sudden you're seeing that car everywhere on the road because now you have trained your mind to focus on that. And I think that's a practical example, but I think the same is true in our love lives. And I was amazed at how pivoting and shifting my mind has cultivated better experiences for me by simply starting to focus more on the positive things. I used to just be like, don't want a man to do this, don't want a man to do that, don't want a man that, got this. And now I'm like, I want a man who knows how to communicate to me when he's angry. I want a man who has a relationship with God. And it's something so simplistic, but it has such a massive impact on your dating experience, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're seeing the negative, if you're seeing the negative come into your life, you have to really begin to ask yourself, why? I am, you know, Why is all this negative? It's because, again, that's where your focus is. So just as you can bring the positive into your life, you can also bring the negative. And that's what I'm saying is shift that negative of what you don't want in a man. You don't want him to treat you like this. You don't want him to be like this. Stop focusing on that and focus on, I'm going to have a man that does this, this, and this, opposed to what he does not do, does not do, does not do. It makes a vast difference. But again, and we're going to close with this. But again, you can still focus and have your energy going in the right direction and still attract the wrong person because you're not the right person. I pause for a moment. I'm gonna let you say something right there, Lady V, because
Well, I want you to elaborate what you mean by that.
because I knew you.
So I make sure I'm like addressing the.
I
Like
knew
I
you
want to make
waiting
sure.
on me. I knew you waiting on me to say something about it. But I want you to, because again, I'm positive. How many positive people? How many people are praying and believing for God and they still single? It's because, yes, you're working with the external, but you're not doing nothing on the internal. And until you begin to really work on you, because really, honestly, it's not what you're doing consciously, it's what's happening subconsciously, things that you don't know about, things that I mean, you may be smiling pretty, and I hate to use this as a great example. You may have the tightest skirt, everything is bam, wham, bam, and all this stuff, but on the inside, you don't feel confident, you don't feel secure, and so then you're wondering why men are not approaching you, or why are the wrong men approaching me because of, they're attracted to your shape and everything. And it's not the outside, it's the inside. And that's what I really want to just kind of like take the air out of the frustration. If you begin to change on the inside, everything else can. And the reason why, because the reason I want to stop right there, Lady V, is the reason why I'm saying that is because there is a queen watching saying, I feel like all the right things, but the wrong men are still coming into my life.
Yeah. I think there could be so many different reasons for that. And that's one of the things that I've struggled with on my own journey. Like, Lord, what else do you need for me to do? I've done this, that, I'm sacrificing here. Okay. Like, I'm trying to stay holy and pure. What else do you want? And I think there could be a whole host of things. Sometimes it could simply be that it's not your season yet. And I know we don't like to hear that, but that could be the case. Sometimes it could still be that there are some things that God wants to grow and mold and shape within you so that you can be ready for the person, for that right man when he sends him. Sometimes there could be something that he needs to work out with that man. And then sometimes you could be going through a season where you're meeting men, but you might not be the right person for that man. And I think that was one of the things that was hard for me because I'm like, Lord, okay, good woman over here. What you mean I'm not the right person for that man? But I'm not going to be compatible for every man. And so I had to learn to not take that rejection so personally, right? And so to your point, I do think that there could be a space where it indicates that there may be some more work that you need to do within yourself. I believe on this Christian journey, we're never going to not have work to do on ourselves until we get to the other side of this life. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
going to
right,
always
right.
be a process. And so I would just encourage you to pray and fast if you need to allow God to reveal you to you, so that you can see, where you kind of fit and what he is requiring of you in this season. That was one of the, I think, instrumental things that I've been doing is like, God, reveal me to me. Because sometimes we can have blinders on to ourselves. And so it kind of, until you're starting to be intentional about those prayers, like take the blinders off, God. What about me do I need to work on? And even in this season where I feel more healed and, am I still streaming? Okay. Where I feel more healed and more healthy and more whole, I'm even reading books. Like right now, I'm being intentional about reading books on preparing to be a wife because I don't know. I've never been a wife. I've been engaged, called it off, but never been a wife. And so I'm in that process. I'm like, reveal to me, what do I still need to do to work on to even make myself a better candidate for, I shouldn't say candidate, I hate that word, but to make me be in a better position to be a wife, right? And so it's just being intentional about allowing God to reveal more of you to you so that you can make whatever adjustments he's asking of you.
Yeah, yeah. That's and I mean, that's what the most important thing is because again, and I can go on this tangent, but so many are praying and asking God to send them somebody instead of saying, God, make me somebody.
Yeah.
We need to
I
be.
think both have to coexist. And that's something that I did a video on because I do believe in being intentional about praying for your future spouse and stuff like that. That's something that I just started being intentional about doing this year, but I also believe that you have to ask to be prepared to receive them. What I don't want to happen is the Lord send them and I'm not ready. Woo, don't want that. So I think I think they're both equally important. And so if you're only doing the one-sided prayer, like Lord, send him, I caution you to, like I said, ask yourself, God, reveal more of me to me. What do I need to work on so that I can be I think how I said it is that I want to also be an answered prayer to him. So, Lord, what your girl needs to do so that I can be an answered prayer to him, just as I want him to be an answered prayer to me.
So do you believe that God can send you somebody and you not be ready?
I hope not, but I can see how that could happen. I'm like, Lord, please let the timing align and intersect all the things. And I won't say this in respect to like spouses and things like that, but I do believe that I have come just say good people, good men. I believe I have met some good men, but I wasn't in the healthiest of places to be able to receive what that good man has to offer. Right now, I also still believe that what and who God has for me is for me, but I definitely can see how I missed out on some good experiences because I hadn't done the work. So that's how I answer that.
Because I mean, because to me, we serve this all wise, all knowing,
Mhm.
and you mean to tell me that you gonna offer me this cake, God, and I'm dieting? I'm on a
Yeah.
diet, but you
That's
gonna
why I'm
offer
like,
me some?
I hope that's not how God operate. I'm not hoping that for myself. But that's why I said like good men. I have not been ready for certain good men, but
Mm-hmm.
were they my person? I'm gonna say no because I believe that God is going to make that intersection align at the right time. That's my hope at least. But we'll see. God's
Okay,
God is serious.
so in saying that, okay, so let's if you're gonna say that, so then how many people do you, and I want to say people, but what are the cases of the right person coming to the wrong person, and we'll say quote unquote God sent the right person to the wrong person that wasn't ready, the right person and coming to the right person, but they're pushing them away.
Ooh, I don't know that I would say God sending the wrong person. I think that is putting a lot of onus onto God. I do believe that we come into contact with people sometimes for a reason, sometimes for a season, sometimes it's for a lesson, sometimes it's for a blessing. And so I think that can look different for different people because there's some things that you have to grow through. I think what I mean by when I say like come into contact with good men. I don't think every good man is going to be the right fit for me. That doesn't negate that they were a good man. And so I think I have encountered some good men. I don't think they were the right fit for me, but I feel like I also wasn't in that ready space. But I would think, and I have no merit in this, y'all, still learning, but I would think that God would bring the right person at the right but I think that also requires me to continue to be in step with God and doing the things that God is requiring of me to do in this season, whether that's healing, you know, living out my purpose, whatever He's calling me to be obedient in, such that I don't delay that time or any of those things. But I don't have all the answers on that one.
Yeah, because I mean, because me personally, I feel that we put so much on God, and I don't really truly believe that it's so much on Him, but it's more
Right.
on us, because I see it so many times that this is the type of person that you've been wanting God to bring you, and then He brings them to you, and then you push Him away. I
Yeah.
thought I wanted that, but that's not what I want. So you find yourself pushing and as you said, the good man away. Now, every good man is not meant for you, but it just baffles me. And then at the same time, we have the other one over here who is the person is being brought into their lives, and then they're sabotaging it. They're not quote unquote ready.
I
I,
do
I
believe
just
self sabotage is. Go ahead, sorry.
yeah, no, I just I'm gonna end with this question. So do you feel that Ruth was ready? Do you think that from what the little knowledge that we have about her story, do you feel that Ruth was ready to meet Boaz?
This is interesting because I have some different takes on the story of Ruth. I'm actually studying the book of Ruth right now. Again, because I want to do some videos on this. So, do I think that Ruth was ready? I I'm going to. It aligned. It worked out. So somebody was ready for something there. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm still flushing that out. Like when I say literally, I'm studying the Book of Ruth, like literally studying the Book of Ruth and doing a real deep dive into the book. So I don't know on that.
Be, be, from my opinion, I don't really believe that Ruth and Boaz would have gotten married, or she would even entertained him if it wasn't for Naomi.
Yeah, I can.
She
I
would
can
be the
see that.
typical woman. I'm a widow. Hey, I'm just doing me.
Mhm.
I'm trying to take care of my mother-in-law, and it's just us. We just doing us right now. Hey, I'm not ready. You see.
I could see that.
And that's why I was asking the question, because I believe that so many people feel that my quote unquote condition, my situation, I feel like I need to do this and this and this, and God is like,
Oh,
okay, well, do you trust me? Do you? Because I believe, and where I was talking to this, we were talking about this in my last interview. Sometimes where you feel that you're not ready, that you're not quote unquote totally healed, God can send a man that will walk you through the healing process, because he's mature enough. Now, God knows everything, and God knows people. He can't do that with every woman. But there are
yeah.
certain women and certain men that I actually have seen this before. And actually, it's kind of funny, because one of my clients was older than her now spouse, and she didn't really feel like but he was more mature and actually walked her through some things, and into marriage, where it would seem like she would be walking him into. So I'm saying that because we need to just be open.
Yeah.
We need to be open to how things are moving in our lives, and when we're not ready, and not only just for a mate, but for the job. How many job promotions or businesses, you could be starting a business, and you quote unquote are not ready, and the opportunity comes and you pass it. you you,
Yeah.
you got to begin to even investigate other areas of your life, that when success comes, because a lot of times it's the fear of success, it's the fear of love, it's the fear of being hurt.
Yeah.
you
And
got
I
all
agree with
these
that.
reasons of why you're quote unquote, I'll just wait on God's time. And God
Yeah.
said, like, no, you're not waiting on me. I'm
Yes.
actually
I'm
waiting
waiting
on
on you.
you.
I'm waiting
When
on
you
you.
gonna move.
And I agree with that because that, like, I was very candid in a video that I posted at the beginning of the year. That was the place that I was in. I had become addicted to my healing, to trying to find things like I'm going to be the perfect person. First of all, perfection, let it go. That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm like, I'm gonna do all these things. Like I need to. Okay, I got daddy issues. Need to work on that. I got confidence issues. Need to work on. And so I went down this rabbit hole of never just allowing myself to just live because I was like, I have to fix all these things before I'm desirable by the right person. And I felt God in his own loving way be like, girl, you're doing the most and not enough. Like, I need you to. But again, I was hiding behind all these things. I want to fix myself. I want to fix myself. I want to fix myself. Y'all, I can't even go into all the details. I kept moving the needle forward of what needed to, like, what would make me qualify as the woman. Fitness. Let me start getting my body right and tight. Let me do this. Let me work on my mental. Let me work on my spirit. And God was just like, you doing all this stuff to prevent yourself from getting out there. I just need you to get out there and let me do the rest. And I was like, now what now? You want me to actually get out there, out there? And so that's kind of been the space that I'm in because I definitely was single by choice. I can admit that. I was single by choice. It was easier to me, even though I had nights where I cried and all the things and desired a spouse, but I wasn't actively doing anything. I was just like, well, God gonna send him. What he gonna do? Drop him off on my doorstep? faith without faith without works is dead. So now I put my faith and trust in Jesus, and I'm putting in the work, doing the works that I feel he's giving me permission to do, and so we'll see how it
Yeah, that's that's kind of funny. That's good. If you if you
goes.
can
Real life, y'all. Real life struggles over here.
right, because again, you wanting to be in a relationship and then you make all these excuses of why it's not happening. It's kind of like, okay, you got to make some decision. Do you really want to be in a relationship? Are you really kicking the can down the road?
Yeah,
I absolutely, and that's why I said that self-sabotage is
yeah,
so real. It is really so real, and you have to really face what you really want and what you're really truly desiring. That's real quickly, Lady V, if you could tell them how to reach you, how to get in contact with you, and all that good stuff.
yeah. I enjoyed this conversation tonight. You can follow me on all platforms at Only Lady V. So that's YouTube, Instagram. Those are kind of my primary ones. I'm on Facebook and TikTok sometimes. But I've really been focused on my YouTube platform and really just trying to create a space, like I said, a safe space for single women to talk about these things without judgment, without the expectation that you have to be perfect or have it all figured out. And so I hope that you all will join me. I hope that I said something today that blesses and encourages you on your singleness journey. Most importantly, that you learn to give yourself grace as you continue to grow and evolve into the woman God has called you to be.
Yes. This has been really a really great conversation. As you can tell, when we start talking about this stuff and all the different views and point of views and everything. And I know a lot of my clients are not quote unquote believers, but I help all types. But I wanted to give an aspect from both sides of the
Yeah.
coin, and I believe that majority of the people that we are helping are those that are saved. And it's a lot of saved, sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized,
Water baptized.
single queens, right? So we're trying to
Yeah.
do our very best to make sure that that healing, that transformation, and that wedding takes place. And so we're striving to do that. So we thank all the queens that have joined us for this conversation. I'll be posting this. It'll be on Instagram. It'll be on Facebook. Queens on Settle in our Facebook group. Also uh, on YouTube. I am, believe it or not, trying to get on YouTube. I only got
Yes, that's where it's at.
um, maybe about 50 some subscribers. So y'all help a brother out. And but yes, we're definitely going to be posting this on YouTube. I'll make sure that I will tag you on that. And
Yeah.
all right, this has been really great. I'm sorry I went over, but it got really good, and I should have had some
It was
coffee or tea or something because we was sharing some tea tonight.
it was
All
good
right.
conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing tonight. All your expertise, all of your experience. Expertise and experience is good because it came firsthand from you and what you're continuing to do. And thank you for being so transparent with your journey. It really does help those that are hearing your journey because they're in some way, in some facet, in that same vein as you are. So this has been great. This has been great. This is another Monday Night Live. We thank you for joining us, and we will be signing off now. You guys have a great night. Remember, queens don't settle.
No, they don't. Grounds.